The Manumala Noxhydria, otherwise commonly known by its nickname of the Facehugger, is the second stage of the species Xenomorph XX121, a creature from the stuff of pure nightmares. The Facehugger will be the focus of today's data log as we dive into what exactly these terrifying creatures are and what role they play in the large species of the alien. The creature is a terrifying sight to behold. Its polarized silicon skin is light yellow and brownish in color, and its body is composed of a total of 8 finger-like, multi-segmented digits, a long ribbed tail, a body that appears composed of 2 human palms and 2 breathing sacs either side of its body. The creature's most horrific feature is that of its sexual organ, appearing as a blend between that of a female vulva and containing a long phallic-like proboscis called the ovipositor. The Manumala Noxhydria and its methods of reproduction are an excellent example of the unnerving nature of xenobiology. Many who have reported or recorded sightings of the creature suggest it has something in common with an arachnoid. However, this is simply the human mind trying to desperately match this creature to something familiar. The truth of the creature is far graver. The Manumala Noxhydria is, as stated, the second stage of the Xenomorph XX121's life cycle, growing and developing from within a stage 1XX121, the ovomorphs. The Manumala Noxhydria acts as the infecting agent for a mutagenic substance of genetic material found within its own body, classified as plagiarist prepotents. Within its ovomorph, each M. Noxhydria is kept well nourished enough to keep them alive and healthy, as well as safe from the external environment and outside threats. It is a short-lived and fast-acting component of the life cycle of its species. When within its ovomorph housing, the creature remains in a state of perpetual suspended animation. However, once a viable host is detected within the vicinity, the ovomorph is able to somehow awaken its spawn, readying it for potential attack. If the host is found to be viable, the creature will begin to stir awake, wriggling around within its flesh encasement. The ovomorph will open its 4 petals like flaps at its top, creating an opening for the Manumala Noxhydria to escape from. Burst out with shocking speed, the creature uses its powerful coiled tail to pounce out at a victim, acting to use its long digits and tail to rapidly pull itself onto the organism. The creature erupts from its ovomorphic housing, implants its dangerous cargo within a host organism, and then subsequently dies, no longer serving any purpose for its species' survival or the good of the hive. Where the creature gets its nickname of the Facehugger is made clear by its preferred method of infection of a host. More often than not, the Facehugger will attack a host's facial region, moving for the most readily available open orifice. After attacking and subduing a host, the Facehugger will wrap its tail and multiple digits around their face and head. There are a few ways this process is ensured to be a success by the Facehugger's biology itself. Usually, the ovomorph will help to make sure a host is of an appropriate size and shape for implantation. Once outside of its egg, the Facehugger can run around its environment rapidly to chase after a victim if it hasn't already immediately taken it by surprise. If the host's mouth is closed, the creature will tighten its tail around their neck, choking it until it gasps for air. At this time, the Facehugger will insert its fleshy proboscis down the victim's throat and immediately begin pumping their body with an unknown aesthetic. This places the host in a relaxed sleep-like state, and it likely the primary reason the creature attacks the specific orifice that it does. Subdued and ready for implantation, the Facehugger will supply the host with atmospheric gases to keep them alive, and then as quickly as it can begin pumping the host with plagiarist prepotents. If the host face or head is too large for the tail to wrap around effectively, the digits of the creature are tipped with a long and pointed nail-like chitinous structure that can be used to grasp and dig into the flesh of the host organism. If the host for whatever reason has a barrier between it and the creature, such as an EVA suit visor or faceplate, unfortunately for the host, the creature is able to secrete thick, carefully directed amounts of its own acidic blood to eat through any obstacle in its path to impregnation. Attempted removal of the Facehugger during its time attached to a host is not recommended. In every case studied to date, every attempted removal of a Facehugger before its chosen time result in the death of the host. Reports of successful Facehugger removal from the Hadley's Hope colony on LV426 all reported the death of the host during the procedure. Attempting to forcibly pry the creature off of the host is near impossible, as the creature will opt to take the host face off or choke them to death rather than be removed. Cutting it free will only serve to douse everyone in range of the procedure in its acidic blood from its pressurized bloodstream, once again killing the host. If the Facehugger only has its tail around the host, you may be able to with great difficulty pry the creature off, but once the digits connect and the ovipositor is inserted, it's game over. During the process of gestation of the chest burster, the Facehugger will continue to keep the host alive and healthy, maintain its body until the time in which the Facehugger has successfully completed the transfer of genetic material. At this point, the creature will retract its ovipositor and fall off of the victim, and a short time after that, the creature will usually curl up and die, having completed its only biological imperative. While the method of impregnation and gestation of a larval chestburster is currently understood to be due to the plagiarius prepotens, it wasn't always like this. Previously, scientists such as Dr. Sora Matsushita believed the facehugger implanted an embryonic form of the XX121, making it and the chestburster the same species. However, the research conducted by Dr. Blue Grace Marsoli's aboard station RB232 revealed the nature of the P prepotens and suggested that the ovomorph, facehugger combination and the chestburster were actually two separate species, a theorem that has come to be accepted by most respected scientists across the Middle Heavens, the facehugger being of the species Manumala Noxhydria, but containing the genetic material in bacterial-like form of the plagiarius prepotens that generated a cancerous-like growth that eventually, through the DNA reflex, steals from the host's genome in order to produce offspring that possess a near 50-50 genetic information split between its original packet of DNA and that of its hosts. If a facehugger for whatever reason is not able to infect a host, the creature will rapidly burn through its body's own nutrients and die. This part of the species XX121 isn't designed to live outside of its ovomorph for long. In order for the creature to survive long enough to continue its species life cycle, it needs to rapidly secure a host or perish. Now, while the facehugger appearance generally only varies slightly, there is a couple of other reported and studied variant types of facehuggers. In the XX121 species, there is a variant known colloquially as the royal facehugger. This facehugger is rare. It usually only appears when a hive's queen is in dire distress, producing an ovomorph under the influence of a substance theorized to mutate the genome of the creature, rumored to be the queen type's XX121's royal jelly. This hugger still maintains 8 digits, however the royal's digits are webbed. This variant will also be larger in size and possess a tail ending in a barb for additional self-defense. Unlike your standard facehugger, this variant can gestate not one, but 2 chestbursters, possessing 2 packets of plagiarius prepotens. The first spore packet will produce a special chestburster that develops into a queen larva, skipping the previous stages. This is done in order to ensure the survival of the species and the hive in times of great danger. This queen takes much longer to birth from its host, so in order to protect it and in addition begin hive preparations, a second packet can be implanted by the royal facehugger, which produces your standard drone. This creature will prepare its coming queen's environment, starting a hive structure and egg morphing victims while it's not protecting the queen and its host until the time the host is spent and the queen is born. The only other known facehugger is the Preda facehugger, found within the ovomorph stage of the predomorph species. The Preda facehugger are very similar to the XX121 facehugger. The only real difference is that they appear much thinner and bonier, with their skin tighter to their skeletal structure as compared to an XX121 facehugger. The Preda facehugger will produce a stage 3 predomorph known as the imp or the immature predomorph, a chestburster type creature that is born as an immature version of its adult counterpart, as compared to the larval chestbursters of the XX121 species. Whilst very similar though, these two creatures are still separate species. If you really want to support what we do here and gain a bunch of awesome rewards, consider joining as a Project ACHERON channel member like company representatives, the Sith Lord 906, Lewis Perkins, and Jack Fleming Jr., or like our team members, Raunchy, Ambrosia, and Karl from the War Game Bootcamp. Until next transmission, this is Project ACHERON bringing the knowledge and the power directly to you.